Yeah, well, nice to see you again.
Yeah, man. Nice to see you. We've been saying that we do this, so I'm happy we're doing it, man.
Yeah, it's finally happening, which is quite exciting, and let's see how the conversations go. But overall, I'm really happy that you're back in Berlin,
Yeah,
even
man.
though for a short time.
Fuck, I'm happy. I'm back in Berlin, man. It's like the surface. It's like when I come here, I come up to breathe. So I'm happy I'm breathing. Yeah.
Yeah, even though I can understand that you don't want to be in Berlin in winter. Um, it's not the most exciting place, but yeah, there's still a lot to do in winter. So hopefully you'll be back this winter for a bit, so we can see each other as well.
Yeah, man. Totally, totally. It's yeah. It's not that I don't want to be in Berlin in winter. I think I knew maybe 2 years ago that I just have to be more mobile. And it's kind of weird because, you talk about people who write or whatnot, they talk about how being on the road is really inspiring. But I think a lot of that being on the road starts before you actually get maybe the actual writing done or whatnot. So, you have to get going. And it's kind of weird, but it makes sense to me, even though like a lot of people are like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, I mean, what I notice is like I become a lot more creative when I'm not in the big city, just because it kind of gives me the my brain just kind of like frees itself in a way. Maybe because the big city sometimes it's a big distraction for me. You can also get inspired a lot here, but on the other hand, like sometimes you just get the inspiration can be blocked. So like being on the road or like being somewhere a bit more remote is definitely like in my opinion a good way to become a bit more creative sometimes.
Yeah, I think you can't get too much into too much of a comfort zone, right?
Mm.
You have to kind of be pushing the limits a bit. And when things get kind of too routiney, it's not good for the inspiration bit.
Yeah. Do you
I don't
have
think life is like, obviously, you know, the years, the days, they pass and they're never the same. I mean, that's the idea with the whole kind of analogy of the road, is that it's always, you don't know what's around the bend. When things become too predictable, that's predictability is good for bankers, not for
actually yeah.
not for people.
Not yeah. But also when you are traveling or when you're somewhere where you haven't been, for example,
It's level. I
there's
don't. I have friends who are bankers. I don't. I. I don't want to. I don't want to be. Okay. Just wanted to correct that. I've got enough. I've got enough problems, man.
yeah. But yeah, what I wanted to kind of point out is like fuck, I forgot what it was. But yeah, good that you have bankers as
No,
friends.
no. Fuck that. Fuck. I interrupted you, man. What were you saying?
I have no idea.
Oh, it's gonna come back. Come on.
Oh yeah, like when you travel, I mean, you expose yourself to new things, which even if you have some ideas, like these ideas can be completely scrapped because you suddenly are in a completely new environment, and then you see something so irrelevant that gives you like some thoughts about something completely new, and then that's kind of it's always good, like as you said, like not to be in your comfort zone, to always expose yourself to something new because you never know first what kind of networking you're gonna make and also what kind of inspiration for certain things, not only in life but also when it comes to like in your case poetry, in some other cases like music or
Yeah.
whatever filming. Like you can always stand up on something new, but when you're somewhere where you know everything, then yeah, it's a bit tricky sometimes.
I think, yeah, absolutely. I think you have to be kind of in sync, synchronized
Mm.
with life. And again, life does not repeat itself. It's, it kind of it unfolds. And when you want to hide, I think when people want to hide a little bit in kind of routine, that's the interesting thing. When you're traveling, obviously, you're always meeting new people, doing different things, and that's when, you know something inside of us, I think, our head, is happy when you connect onto that time that's, going towards the unknown.
Yeah. Do you plan to travel anywhere in the next 12 months? Any projects or anything?
I'd like to go back to Southeast Asia at some point, but we'll see. We're talking about. I met a guy here. We're at another country at the bookshop, and I met a guy here recently. He's from Japan, and I've even like posted on my Instagram. I want to go to Japan, and I'd really like to see Japan. So yeah, maybe do like a reading tour, organize some readings. I'd really like that. I've seen a lot of Europe and of North America. I love Latin America, but I think I'd like to see at some point. There are some places like Nepal, South Africa. I'd like to see more of Africa. I've heard a lot of good of the music scene in Ivory Coast. I'd like to check out that. I've got some musician friends here in Berlin. They're from Zimbabwe. Who knows? Maybe I'm just gonna go to Zimbabwe at some point.
Yeah. I mean, also it's interesting if you bring your poetry to other place like Japan. I mean, the people have completely different philosophy and mindset.
Yeah.
There, like the culture is very different than the Western culture. And even in the West, like I mean, Eastern Europe and Western Europe have completely different mindset regarding certain things. Like I think like the like Eastern and Southeastern Europe is somehow a mix of like in some cases even East Asia regarding certain things how they do,
Yeah.
and then also like Western Europe. So like bringing your poetry would definitely be interesting for the people there because it's obviously like how they write things and how they even think about things.
Yeah, but I think it would simply be a good test for my
Yeah.
writing because that's the first thing. Like started traveling a lot when I was young, and that's the first thing you realize is what people have in common. That's what you want to bring up in conversations when you meet somebody new who's from somewhere else. You kind of touch on what people have in common. I mean, that's what good writers, again, going back to like writers like Poe, whether he writes about fear or, these are things that everybody, whether you're Oriental or Occidental, from the North, from the South, people, that's what you're supposed to touch on, and those are the things that kind of endure a little bit more than talking about very local things, or at the end of the day, talking about super personal things that can only interest you. And so that's the opposite of, I guess, good writing. So that's the idea. I think if anybody's writing or making music or anything, painting, you want to, put it to the test to see if there's a broader audience that, can kind of connect onto what you express.
Yeah, when I moved to Germany, I was couch surfing for 2 months, and the guy that I was couch surfing with, he told me that because I wanted to go to a cinema, and he said like, yeah, most of the films are, even new films are synchronized like voiceover in German, and it was a bit disappointing for me to hear that. But he said, if the film is really good, you would not need the language to understand it, so you can basically connect without even maybe like getting half of the details with the voice and stuff.
It is.
When something is good, it's gonna work out. If you reach broader audience, then it's really good.
But again, like English is my third language, and the vast majority of people who speak English today, it's their second, third, fourth language. They're not native English speakers. So, we get used to, like, if I'm talking to you and it's important, I'm going to use a 3-letter word if I can use a 3-letter word. If I know that your English is like 6 on 10 or whatever, 4 on, I'll make sure I'm understood, right? And the idea is to get the message across. A poem's like a little message in a bottle that, you put to sea, and, the other person who receives it has to be able to read it to understand. So I think that's the. I mean, when you write poetry, you're not supposed to be showing how erudite you are, how many university degrees you have, unless like that's what it was in the past. In the past, it was a very small group of people writing for these very educated people, and they needed to make sure that they were conveying that kind of elite tone and everything. And I think that's just that's not what. Now it's about including everybody, so you don't want to exclude educated people. But I've met a lot of people who I'm certain don't know how to read, and they had something interesting to say. When you're traveling in South America or even anywhere, and some of these people are farmers or people who live deep away from the cities, and some of them you have some really really interesting interactions with them. So I, that I mean, that's obviously this. I'm not at all interested in just writing for, some five people that are gonna get me published.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. I have a grandpa who is the brother of my grandpa who passed away in southeast of Serbia, high in the mountains where my village is, and his lifestyle is very primitive, so to say. I mean, he doesn't rely on the system. He doesn't need money. He's always in the village. He's 80, maybe 90 now,
So there you
probably.
go.
He still has to work. Like in the spring, you do this. In the summer, you do that. In autumn, you do this. And yeah, they have electricity, they have TV, but this is all irrelevant for them. And the whole life, they've been doing only one thing, basically just like working, when you have to work, preparing yourself for winter, and then surviving winter and repeat the same thing. And to me, it's really interesting because I talk to him and he's completely unaware of the whole world and the situation. And it's so fascinating for me because it's something so rare to see. Like
Yeah.
people like that and having the same language these days.
Yeah.
It's not like a tribe, it's in Europe. So it's always interesting like to just see how they see the world because this is how people used to see the world maybe 100 years ago, so to say. So yeah, it's I try to record some of our discussions, but I'm rarely there. So yeah, meeting people like that is super
Absolutely.
beneficial.
Absolutely. And I mean, he must be doing something right. He's like 90. He's still functioning.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I asked him
Yeah.
like, why did you leave the city? At some point, he was in a big city. He was also in Egypt because of military stuff that they were sending people from Yugoslavia. And he said like, I mean, first his wife didn't want to go in the big city, but then he was like, why should I go there? I mean, that was during COVID. He's like, people like wear things on their faces, like the air is dirty. Like what a bus drives around and I need to breathe all the
Yeah.
terrible things. Like I have clean air here, no one bothers me. I'm like, actually, yeah, that's a good point. I mean, when you're in the society, you need to act like everyone else, but there, you can just do whatever you want.
Yeah, I think there's definitely a balance. I mean, we go to big cities like I moved to Berlin, you moved to Berlin, because there are other people who, it's like a carrefour. It's a crossroads where people come, but it's also definitely super important to kind of extract yourself. I definitely don't do it enough. I've lived in cities all my life. But I always talk about spending more time in nature, but it's just good, man. It's amazing. I love how especially today with the screens, like my eyes get tired, just so tired, man, from like looking at screens. And when I was in Normandy, like last autumn, I'd go walking in the like deep forest, with these, and there's something about the forest where there's all these, like there's 100,000 different depths, a million, like it's like because light kind of pierces in different ways through the leaves, and this is like just like a really properly covered canopy and everything. And when you're there, your eyes, they love that because they naturally just take in all these different depths and all these different kind of plays of light. and that's natural. And there's something that's it's like you're getting a massage of the eyeball. It's amazing how soothing, the word is soothing, it was. It was just like amazing. And then I was just like, I gotta do this every day. And then like every day I'd have my little writing routine, and then I'd go like do like an hour walk in the trail, and it was, as soon as I'd get there, it would just be so good for my eyes. And I think just generally, if people did that a little bit more, but
Yeah, I think having a balance between this, what we have here, and that there, is maybe the right approach, because also going there you kind of restart parts of your daily routines in life, and sometimes you worry too much about things that are completely irrelevant, and then you go there and you realize it, and you come back and you have a fresh start, so to say.
yeah,
But yeah, you actually said that you have three languages, almost like mother languages, mother tongues,
yeah.
and you write poetry in all of the three. Does it differ when you do it in Slovak, French, and English? Is it different? Like, how do you actually feel about when you write in Slovak and when you write in English? Because I also speak a couple of languages and also English as well, and I feel like I am a different person when I talk in Bulgarian. So that also, I guess, goes through your writing as well. So have you noticed some pattern in that,
Yeah,
the way you
but
write?
also that evolves, that changes. For a long time, because I grew up and these guys that I was very close with in Quebec City, and we used to speak Quebecois, which is, you know, a language of its own. It's it's a different kind of French, and definitely, like I spent 10 years living in France, and it's not at all, you're not the same. But when I would kind of relax and speak Quebecois, I'd be, you know, that's when I'd be most comfortable. But now I've kind of outgrown that phase. A lot of those guys, I'm just, we're not close anymore. And I mean, the past is still there. It's weird. For example, there's some things, Slovak's the first language I learned. So there are some very kind of visceral things that if I speak, if I get really mad, for example, I'll swear. But then it's also different. I mean, English has become this, and it's my English. I love how, you know, the French will say, we speak French, you guys speak Quebecois, or the English speak English and Americans speak American. Well, I like to say that my English is post-American, you know, because I think, and it's a tribute to English, because English has done really well. You know, the Americans have stuck with it. They've taken it a little bit somewhere else, and now it's a tribute to America also, that so many people in the world speak their English, but they adapt it as well. People in India adapt it to, you know, also Hindi syntax, the order in which they say things. German people here definitely have their order in which they order a sentence, and they'll sometimes speak English that way because that's the way it makes sense to them, you know? And it's their English. It's their way of expressing themselves. And especially if you're writing poetry, man, it's like, it's about so much more than just grammar, you know? And so, you know, I really, if I write a poem that really conveys how I feel, but it's not Oxford English, I really don't give a fuck if you're, you know, somebody who's whatever and who doesn't think that it warrants recognition because it's not, you know, quote unquote proper English. I always say, because I studied law and I worked a bit in that world, I love this, well, whatever. Let's get off of that, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you miss anything from Canada and the life that you had?
I'm really pissed off at Canada, man, right now. Really super, super disappointed. It's not like, without getting into it, yeah. I find that Canada's in a really interesting position right now. Canadians and Canadians, it's also very organic. It's people who are living there right now, full time. I spend a lot of time there, but it's not the same thing as being there full time. And the people who are there full time are have an interesting challenge now because the last kind of all those years after the two wars, the post-war years, they were very easy years. There was a lot of money. The economy was very much structured around America. America were the big, winners of the war, and Canada was like the privileged American state. You didn't have to put up with any of the negative restrictions that Americans had to deal with, and it was easy. It was easy living for a lot of, and I benefited from that. I grew up there, as a child, and in easy years and stuff like that. But also, I like to believe that things are gonna. I don't think Canada has. There's a politician in Quebec. His name is Jean Charest, and he was on television like at Concordia University, and somebody asked him, "Oh, do you think the reputation of Canada has taken a hit in these past couple of years?" And he was like, "No, no, not at all. I've been traveling and 100. I know, Mr. Charest. I've done. Quebec's not that big at the end of the day, and when I was younger, we organized events and stuff like that, and I've had, I've talked with him, and he's an interesting person. I 100% disagree with him, 100%. The reputation of Canada has taken a gigantic hit, and it sucks a little bit because I think Canadians have gone through. I mean, man, think about it, man. Before electricity, before people have had heating, you had to deal with like -40-degree winters, man. And I mean, like even us, man, when we were growing up and we had cars and you didn't have like electric starters to start the car and the heating, you had to go to school, man, and fucking you were just literally getting into a freezer. You were literally getting into fucking freezer, man. And I can't imagine like these people like the great grandfathers and the grandfathers of that they didn't have electricity, and when end of September came, you were fucking looking forward to April.
That's a long winter.
That's a long winter, man. So it's those people were tough, and they learned and they developed, and Canadians have definitely gotten too comfortable over the years. And without getting into it, part of me is very much Canadian, but yeah. What was your question, man? I jumped the gun.
Do you miss anything?
Do I miss
Canada
anything?
and the life when you had there? Because you're
man.
partially settled in Berlin, but also not. Really,
I live on the road a lot. Like my home, my I don't like to use the word base because I'm not a military operation, but like I work out of Berlin and I live out of Berlin, but I've been spending a lot of time in Canada because I have parents and I have two sisters in Canada who I love very much. So I miss them, and I look forward to and I've made a lot of new friends as well. And I've met a lot of wonderful people in Quebec and in Canada in general, and in the States. I've been down to Texas, man, and spent some time in Austin. I fucking loved it. It was great, and it's different. You're in America, but spend some time in DC as well. All these new people I've met and everything. Do I miss life that is very, very market driven and revolves around just consuming? Like, oh, I'm nervous, I'm gonna go buy something. No, actually, that sounded. You know what? I think a lot of people. It's not fair to just blame North Americans for that. A lot of people today are kind of you get nervous, you go, but I definitely don't think that market driven living is healthy. It's not, the air that I breathe was not made by the market.
True. I think this is why Berlin. What I also like in Berlin is it feels like a sanctuary for people who want to escape things. I feel like you have a bit of everything here, and also the market is maybe not yet completely established. You still have a bit of all of the sites in one city, which if you're looking for like an escapism, for me, like I think Berlin for me was personally a good way to start all over again.
Yeah.
So I think yeah, like there is still something here in this city that you can do, you can create, and yeah.
Yeah, I think so because they used to say that about New York. They used to say that New York wasn't America and Berlin isn't Germany, and it's very much, but it very much it's underpinned by German culture. And what I really like about German culture is it definitely has, a lot of Celtic culture or other ancient kind of European, or you could say white cultures. They've really been absorbed by, you don't have Gaelic people anymore. Really, some of that does, but the culture in itself and Germanic culture has very much endured. And there's definitely something that is a little bit like wild still, and it's beautiful and it's good. It's like I love the fact that in Germany and around Berlin, people in the lakes there, so many people they love swimming naked. They just fucking love it. I love it. I love it, man. So, and I think that's good, and they make it a point, and it must be intentional. I don't know. You'd have to ask a German person, but if you go to Hamburg, if you go to Munich, Köln, Frankfurt, you know what? If you want to fucking have two mortgages and a fucking 3 cars and sports cars, have them. In Berlin, this is the capital, and it's different here. If you want to start a business in Berlin, they're gonna make it tough on you, and that's intentional. The bureaucracy makes it like you're not if you want to make money, go to fucking you can make, especially today, a lot of people are making money online, so that's not necessarily controlled, and that's interesting because I think it's a good time, it's a good mix now, where because when you're just a bunch of marginal outsiders or artists, if you want, artists don't buy other artists' art. So it's nice to have eventually people who there's a balance, and at some point also, I mean, they used to say that about Paris. They used to say Paris that it doesn't change, and it has started changing a little bit, and things change. So at some point, I guess parties, the kind of cheap rent and the place to be is going to move on to somewhere else.
Somewhere else, yeah.
But no, I agree with you. It's still Berlin's still a good place, man.
Yeah, like the fact that a lot of things are online here. I also noticed there are a lot of successful startups, like worldwide, from Berlin.
Yeah.
But when you walk around, you actually don't necessarily see that it's a startup business city. It's just a city full of interesting people and characters here and there, and you wouldn't really say like this is where I should start making millions and so on. It's more like this is where I should start meeting people and create some network full of interesting mindsets. But yeah,
I think for a lot of, I guess, people starting up a business, it's still an atypical choice. Maybe less now, but a lot of them that have come to Berlin like 2-3 years ago, or it was still an atypical choice to set up, and it's more fashionable to move to Austin for like if you're a big business, or if you're a I don't know, if you're a digital nomad.
yeah, yeah. Also, yeah, interesting that Paris changed. I've never been to Paris. I don't know what changed because I've never seen the old Paris to say like, oh, the new Paris is different. But I met a lot of Parisians. I mean, not a lot, but several that kind of tell me that there are tons of interesting people there.
It's a
Young
good
people just
place.
like here. It's not like everyone is super posh or how you get the impressions of Paris. It's a lot of people that just like here in a way.
It's funny. There were some girls who came in. They were from Paris, and they're living just outside the périphérique. So the périphérique is the kind of like highway that goes around, and still there's the mentality that if you live outside the ring, you're like not cool, you know. But I mean, cities expand, they grow inevitably, and yeah, it's good. There's a lot of like cités and stuff like that outside of Paris, and I've had also a lot of people come in here and they talk. They say, "Yeah, I live in Paris," but they actually live in one of the neighborhoods just outside of Paris. But yeah, I mean, it's totally a lot of some of the man, some of the places that were kind of, I don't know, like Paris is beautiful, man. It's a beautiful city. You can walk around. But there are other beautiful cities, man. I want to go to Shanghai. I want to see. We go to Tokyo. I've heard Kyoto was fucking great. There's so many different places, man. Cape Town, I want to check out. Yeah, man. I spent some time in Buenos Aires. I really fucking loved it, man. I love Latin America. I was in Colombia recently. Love that, man. I heard Cali was the fucking capital of salsa. I want to fucking go. You know?
Do you know how
So,
to dance? Or someone will teach you there, I guess.
yeah, there I'll figure it out, man. Yeah. Yeah. It's easier for them because they grow up with it. You know? Kids, if you're with little kids like 2, 3, 4 year olds, they love singing and dancing. That's very much programmed into our psyche. But again, I grew up in North America and the public school system. We don't dance.
Yeah.
But we're really good managers. We're really organized, which is also positive.
Yeah, very different. I don't know how to dance, and I obviously like when I listen to electronic music, I can obviously dance, and I just get into
You
my
can
own
jump on one
world.
place.
Yeah, like jump here and there, but I can make it fit the music, so
Yeah,
to say, so people can
yeah.
say like, hey, this guy, you know, he knows his stuff. But when it comes to like proper dancing, it's incredibly
It's fun. Dancing's
ridiculous,
fun, man.
and
You know what? Also, like,
especially when you sync with someone, it's
yeah.
like amazing, probably. But
Or just like, modern, like contemporary dance, like really just letting yourself just move however you're feeling it, and like that's wonderful. It's amazing. I had done this residency with this girl called Anaïs, and she's a very good dancer from Marseille. And she was giving a class once, and I went, and it's just so freeing, and you don't get hurt. It's just like you let your body do the movements that it wants to do, and it's incredibly creative because you're really, yeah, the paintbrush is your body, you know, which is very different from singing or poetry or music. And there's something, of course, very physical about us. So
yeah, we've been doing it for tens of thousands of years.
yeah,
It's so weird that it's one of these things that I think are engraved in the human instinct, so to say, to just like create some sort of a rhythm and dance on it. And it doesn't make in a way sense, when you
yeah,
think about it, but also it makes sense.
yeah. I think there's some anthropologists. I don't know if that's the right field of study, but I think it was Bruce Chatwin, the writer, he mentioned in one of his books that apparently there's some solid cases that state that singing came before speaking. That whatever ancestors we had, they used to sing, and the speaking came after. The kind of drier, more dumbed down version of it. Or maybe, I don't know if it's dumbed down, but
That's crazy.
We were having a talk also with somebody today because she was saying how in the German language they build these big words, but also these very big words in German are very specific. They really mean this thing or this situation or this feeling, And I love how Foster Wallace, he had this like very sharp sense of humor as well, and he said that English was the bastard child of German because in the kind of things have been simplified, which is good. It's good when if you're very active and you want to get things done, then, and of course it's also shorter. But something was lost in the translation that, that sometimes when you want to say something very specific, it's, that's not true. I have a good friend and poet, Adam Flint, lives out in Potsdam, and his vocabulary in English is very deep. And so there are some people, but also then if you have a very deep vocabulary in English, there's just so many words that you can cram into a head, man. Like I speak different languages now, and to some extent it's come at the expense of my English or of my Slovak or my French.
That's what I noticed. At work, they wanna send me to like Croatia or something, Serbia, to train people, and I said like, yeah, sure. I mean, why not? Like, I'll be there for like maybe a few weeks, but then I started to think after work. It's like, I don't know half of the words, like basic words, like how, for example, how to delegate. I don't know the word in Serbian. How to do something else. I don't know that word either. I know them only in English, and then I realized that I'm simply not gonna be able to do my job. So I hope they never call me. And I noticed as well that with time, like you lose somehow not the capacity, but something gets replaced by something else. And as you said, like it comes at some expense. And I kind of worry that I either need to practice all the time, read books in different languages all the time to maintain it, or just live with the fact that I might not be great in all of the languages maybe that I know. You just need to deal with that.
But your head might just be passing through a phase where it's adapting. It's adapting to, it's making sense, it's processing. There are also words that are less useful to you that were maybe very useful when you were younger, and it's a different context. I don't think so. Languages, also art is a language, all these different forms and mediums of art are a language. So yeah, I think it's a strange kind of animal that evolves. And yeah.
It evolves with you, and then it kind of leaves a trace on you. Like also historically, when you see countries, especially being between two empires, they acquire different words from different languages, obviously. And then you can trace the history of a certain country or a place by just looking at the language.
Yeah.
Or if they have like Arabic words, then what happened there? What kind of influence was that? When was that influence? If they have like some English for some reason, then why? I mean, these days we know why, but back then it would have
Yeah, but it's also interesting because you have recorded history, and then you just have oral history.
Yeah.
And I'm sure, like, if you talk to some farmer or to some, bag lady, they know some things that might just be, just as accurate or more accurate than the official recorded history, So exactly, how, yeah, I don't know. People move around and strange. I mean, it's one of my friends, Katka Mihalikova in Slovakia. She once told me, she's like, the history of humanity is a history of migration. So, because these days everybody's pissed off. I can't believe it. It's completely ridiculous. They're really upset with migrants. You know, it's just like everybody's saying, "Ah, migrations." Human history is a history of migration. People migrate. I love it that the Aboriginal people in Australia, they have these kind of song lines, and they go on a walkabout, and they follow different paths, and it's just very much part of life. How they move around, but everybody moves around. So, anyways, yeah, I think we're all. I like being a little bit more nomadic now and kind of embracing it, but it's not easy. It's not easy. I mean, it's nice to have a home base, and again, why not? Why not have a bit of a balance? You know.
Yeah, but I think we mentioned like a bit of discomfort is always nice, and not having a base, having a bit of uncertainty, also makes you stronger in certain situations. I noticed it myself when I moved to Berlin. It was super easy to move, but then moving from one place in Berlin to another place in Berlin felt like very difficult. So like letting things go sometimes and just being a bit more flexible. It's obviously like you don't know what can happen tomorrow, but on the other hand, you're far more prepared than people who never really moved or rarely move.
Yeah.
So you
And
can
then there are
benefit a lot from
situations where
it.
you have to move. For example, if you're in a couple and you break up, one of you has to move. All these people living in war zones, they have to move. The economy dries up, you have to move. So,
How many years have you been kind of on the move?
like, proper on the move? Like, I'd say, like 2023, I set out and I'd kind of tested it a little bit before I went to Southeast Asia. I spent like 4 months traveling, and it really did a lot of good. It was tough, man, because you spending nights in cheap hostels and stuff like that, and it's not easy, but it was good for me. And I remember I have some very good friends like living in Singapore. One of them was like, "Ah, come, we'll leave you the house for a week," and I knew it was the wrong move because I was doing some work. It was doing me some good, you know. Also, another thing, I'll jump on another subject is like since I've started making art, exercising has been kind of it's weird. It's like a different part of your brain kind of kicks in, and it's different. It hasn't before when I used to be in the suit and tie world. I could go out and jog, fucking run laps around somewhere. Now it's kind of it has to have a point. I have to be going somewhere. As soon as I'm just like running in circles, it's like my body's like no. It just so now, for example, when I was on the road in Southeast Asia, it was good because I was, going from one place to another, and you have to just pick up your stuff and move on. And once again, that really does mimic life. I love this. There was this really good book about this Polish journalist. It's called "The Shadow of the Sun: My African Life," and he was talking about how some African tribes, when they go from A to B, they never take the same road because life is like that. You never take the same road, you know. So whether it was the Romans with their iters, developed highways, it was for military purposes, but actual, normal everyday people, it's kind of you're not supposed to be going in circles. So yeah, being on the road backpacking, for example, or there's a guy who calls it vagabonding. There's a book, and it's really interesting. He quotes Walt Whitman a lot, and that really mimics. And I think once you start mimicking real life, the universe or whatever, then your body you get in sync. And when you get in sync, your body likes that. Your anxiety leaves, your creativity appears. I mean, I remember when I was in Thailand and just the poems were just coming. and it was better writing, and it was different writing. It was happier, you know. And yeah, and the moment I took up my friend and I went to Singapore, the fucking moment, I like 2 days later I got sick. I'm 100% sure that whatever bacteria or whatever I ate, if I would have been on my little road, my body would have stayed on top of it. But now I spend like a week puking my guts out in Singapore. I mean, it was wonderful to see my friend and to catch up with him, but there's a time and a place. And but also the balance is nice. So, yeah. But this summer, for example, Slobo, I'm in a better shape than I've been. I've been thinking about finally getting back into shape a little bit. I've been talking about it for 15 years, man. And finally, because the way I'm set up this summer, I've just been kind of having to go to the public pool every morning or every second morning. And, I swim a bit, and it's just part of my routine now. And yeah, I feel better than I have in a long time. Yeah.
So you've been procrastinating for 15 years?
I've been kind of stuck in a bit of a
Loop.
a bit of a loop. And I remember when I came here like 10 years ago to Berlin, some people were telling me, I mean, I already knew it, but they were confirming. They're like, well, Berlin's a good place to plant a seed, but you can't just stay here. And I think I think as privileged people, because we're definitely part of a global minority that can afford to not make more efforts. And I think that's not good. That's another thing, it's like in Canada, the ancestors, like 3 generations down, they didn't have that kind of money. And you really quickly get to a point where you have too much money for your own good. And people don't want to hear that, but it's not fucking good for you. It's not, you don't need a fucking new phone. You need to just get up. You need to get rid of some of your stuff so you can fit stuff in 2 or 3 bags. So you can find 2 or 3 friends who'll accept to store 3 of your boxes. And you got to get out there a little bit. And then, that's also, I think, life balances things out, because people who are more poor, they don't have a choice, man. They need to chase the money. They need to chase the food. So they move around. And there are definitely these days tons of people out there who are barefoot, but mentally, their mental health is doing a lot better than a whole bunch of people out there, with fucking buds.
Yeah, I mean, I noticed this with also generosity, like old people in my country, like they don't have
I don't want
anything, but it's...
I'm interrupting you. I don't want to sound like somebody who's shitting on modernity and, some of these things are very practical toys, but
No, it definitely has an effect. I mean, like, I think people who don't have a lot, they know what it means to... They're also, like, used to it having less, so... I feel like I notice more generosity personally with people who have a lot less. But I also noticed it myself that back then, before the internet, or even during the internet, I was collecting music. I would hear Metallica for the first time, and then I want to hear all of their albums. And I'm so interested in a band or an artist.
Isn't Kill 'Em All a great fucking album? Their first album.
Yeah, but then eventually, like, I don't know what happened with these like streaming services, but now I can access all of the songs that are out there.
Yeah.
And that destroyed my taste for music. I personally don't search for a specific artist that I want to get to know the artist better.
Yeah.
To understand a bit more the background, why he's making the music the way he does. For me, it's just
man.
like a...
Of course.
It's just the music now, and it's not even like... I don't even know what I listen anymore. Just because I have access to everything, because I'm rich in choices, and...
Yeah. Like, I spent so much time when I was younger clubbing, and if I would have been in, Nigeria, I'd know how to dance. I'm not a bad dancer, by the way, but I would have had access and met all these people. I remember during Brazilian Carnival, I went to Rosinha, which is this favela, and yeah, it was great, man. They had this giant band, all these people playing instruments. I just got in there. Some person gave me an instrument, man, and you just get into it, and it's great. It was amazing. It was just a highlight of my life. I none very. I don't know. I don't think that very many of my nights in a club were a highlight of my life, but it doesn't matter. It's okay. But it was there, and you do it because the friends around you do it. But you have to kind of find the courage to kind of break out of it a little bit, and yeah,
Yeah, I think all of the Africans that I know are incredible dancers. They just have this energy as well that I feel like I'm just too stuck in some. I don't even know what it is, but clubbing though, I think I can make some nice moves
clubbing. Yeah, but, dude, I've never been
as
to.
long as you don't judge too much.
I've never been to Berghain, man. I've been here for fucking 10 years, and that doesn't matter. It's like I don't. It's not like
I would
I
also like
miss it, but
to see it, but also queuing for 4 hours just to be rejected. Like I cannot be bothered. But we have to do it one day.
yeah, we should go. Yeah, but it's just exactly that whole thing, man. I've got my pride, man. Like fucking having. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see, man. I heard Sisyphus was some guy back in 2023, and I was I did a reading and we did a bit of music with Roy and some guy from the audience came after. He's like he came and he said, you're not a Berghain type, but you're a Sisyphus type. You'd really fit Sisyphus. I'm like, all right, man, I'm gonna go fucking Sisyphus.
This place is nice. I was there, I think,
Were you there? Yeah.
3 times maybe. Only once I got rejected the first time. But it was like me and two other
That's the
guys.
fucking way I'm standing.
And luckily, we didn't even need to wait because the queue was basically like 2 people in front of us.
Yeah.
It was like Sunday afternoon. So eventually we had to think about some other stuff. But then the second time when I went in, the first time that I got in, I was waiting for 4 hours. And on top of that, I skipped 1 hour by just going to the very front and asking the first person, like, hey, can you let me be in front of you? Like, we can get to know each other. And the person was like, yeah, sure, fine. He was some Syrian guy. And I thought, like, if it fails with the first one, I'm going to go to the guy behind him, ask the same question.
Yeah.
And then again and again, but I'll still save at least an hour. And it worked out really well. I just had to ask. And despite that, we still waited another 3 hours, which was terrible. And eventually,
There's no fucking way.
and I was so tired that 4 hours later, I was like, I'm done.
Yeah.
But it's a nice place. If you get a chance, go.
I don't know, man. Right now, I'm in the same mode as, like, I really feel like some things are coming together for me, and I just want to, when I'm not working or taking care of my little project, I want to touch base with friends that people who are a part of my life now, catch up on that. Little things like that. Maybe go to the pool. It's become. I just don't have. Even here, like this summer, it was my first summer, and I kind of feel at home in Kreuzberg now. I spent so much time in Neukölln, and I don't know. Like I've got. I don't necessarily feel like exploring the neighborhood. For example, it's just like okay. Or another way to put it is in 2015, I visited India. And I remember I got a bit high and everything. And I was in Hampi. And you're looking at these big fucking fields of rocks and everything. And it's funny because it was beautiful. But instead of admiring it in a way where I thought like, oh, what an amazing foreign new country. I was like, this is my home. It's beautiful. This is, I'm at home. And yeah, I just, I want to go to Japan, man. I want to do different things. And when I was a kid, man, I used to tell my dad that I wanted to speak 25 languages, and I wanted to see all these countries. Well, that's not going to happen anymore. But at least, I'm good. I think I want to use my time a little, I think, more wisely. And I think the secret in that is not to be taking all the decisions yourself. We're not islands, and I think it's when you're younger, maybe as a man, as a male, you try to like not get too close to anybody because they slow you down. But then you kind of realize that actually, yeah, now I'm slowing myself down. So yeah,
Yeah, sometimes it's nice to let someone else drive and take control of the steering wheel.
fuck yeah, man. Fran, the weekend there with Seba's birthday, and then my birthday was the day after, and I was really insisting on leaving because I wanted to be on my own on my birthday, and Fran was like, no, 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 come be with us. So then, it's gonna be midnight soon, and then we'll have fun, and then you can go home. And I was like, no, no, and I was really hard headed, so I ended up leaving. And then it's really funny because I ended up leaving. And then I'm like, I kind of did this U-turn. I returned and I kind of saw them where they were sitting in the park. I'm like, all right, then I took my bike and I went over there and like, hey, you're back. I'm like, yeah, I'm back. And she was right. She was right. It was really nice, and it was healthier than me going on in my little bubble, and my little circle of thoughts, and my little routines.
Yeah. Also for me, one of the best nights or days that I had were the ones where I didn't even wanna participate in maybe some occasion or event, where I would be so hesitant and then think like, do I really want to do it? Not. And eventually somehow in the last minute I would convince myself to do it, and then it's maybe one of the nicest evenings that I had. But yeah, sometimes you just need to like let other people decide.
Yeah, definitely.
And also you need to sometimes decide for other people. Sometimes you need to maybe not tell others what to do, but just bring people somewhere and see what happens. So maybe you should organize a birthday evening next year.
Man, I tried to this year. Fucking Seba stiffed me, man. I talked to Seba like 3 times. I'm like, hey man, that's like 2 years in a row now that basically I show up to your whole big it's Seba's birthday, and I show up I'm like, hey, it's my birthday too. I'm like, maybe we could organize something together. And Seba's like, yeah. And then fucking next thing I know on WhatsApp, he's like, hey, it's Seba's birthday, and he's organizing. So I'm just like, all right. But so now you have to talk to Seba, man.
But this is a good example. You should take the steering wheel and just do it.
What do you want me to do?
I don't know. 2 weeks before.
You want me to scream at Seba?
Threaten him. I don't know. Like, tell him one more time, and then.
Look, motherfucker.
I mean,
it's my birthday too.
You're not gonna celebrate your birthday today. We're gonna be very quiet, and then after midnight, we're gonna party on my birthday.
Yeah, it was fun, man. It was fun. It was definitely a lot of fun.
I think the last year's birthdays that you guys celebrated in Wedding was even more fun because we had to like pretend that we're on some tropical island with all of the nice things, and I forgot even the genre of that music. Calypso?
Calypso, yeah.
It was so good.
Really?
One of the... Well, honestly... It's one of those moments where you can finally wear your Hawaiian shirts that you're too embarrassed to wear. It was nice. I made lots of nice pictures.
I have a cousin called Paul, and I've been remembering how when we back in Canada, back in the old days, and when he was like 11 or 12, he had come back to Quebec and they were playing in some hockey tournament or something, and I was there like I was 18. I was their older cousin, and with my other cousin Yan, the three of us, we went to play hockey, and it was really really fucking cold out. So we're in this little, in the cabanon, in the little chalet where you put on your skates and it's warm, but it was like fucking minus 25. And Paul was like really hard headed, and he was gonna go out without a hat, like without a hat. And I was looking at Yan. He's like, he can't do that. I said, you can't do that. Yan's just like, yeah, you gotta let him. You gotta let him do it. And it was really funny because he was like, no, 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 and he fucking went out. Fucking literally like 30 seconds later, he returned. He was like, where's my fucking hat? And I just remember that because, yeah, anyways, I was insisting on saying that. Man, family's a fucked up thing. Family's it's one of these things. It's such a double-edged sword. And we've talked about this a lot, you and me, but yeah, it's yeah, I don't know how. Yeah, do you think that in some way the world, friends, but people you meet and everything can kind of eventually replace family, or there's some kind of, I don't know. I don't know.
You
I
mean
don't know.
like friends to become your family, so to say, or other people?
Yeah, something like that. I'm bringing up the subject. I'm like I forced the subject of my cousin and everything into our discussion because I don't know, man. I find that it can be like for so many people. Like I know you could count on fucking two fingers the happy families I fucking know, you know?
Yeah.
And it's funny because either it's religion or in America, they're always talking about family values. What the fuck are you talking about? I mean, family values fucking hating each other.
That's the thing with family. It's like something that you're obviously like without your consent or choice, you're just put in a certain family. And then like whether good or bad, like you have to deal with these things. You cannot just like, obviously you can run away and say like, I do it my way, but in a way, like, speaking of family values, you need to be supportive of whatever happens in the family. And yeah, so you can pick friends, but you cannot pick family, which, I also noticed it myself, like most people come from complicated families. And even the guy that I was couch surfing with for 2 months, he said like we all come from broken families.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, wow, like, yeah, I guess you just need to like shut up and deal with it. But on the other hand, like, why should you be like dealing with certain things? Why you? You're not, for example, the one created all of the troubles. Just because it's a family, you need to deal with it. It's a really complex topic, and to be honest, it's one of these things that you can never find the right answer how to deal with things.
But
Because
maybe it's
so,
like I remember my friend's mom. She had this kind of, and she rest in peace. She died a few years ago, and she had a dog, and her dog died, and she was like, I need to get a new dog right away. It was like fucking middle of the night, and she was making phone calls because she needed a new dog, and like the Taoism or whatever, they say that one of the pillars of your life is your family, but not the family you come from, the family you establish. So maybe you solve family matters by making a new family. I don't know.
kind of like correct the core mistakes.
Yeah, like that dog died. You get a new dog. You know what I mean, man. I'm just, you kind of move on and you correct that. I mean, anyways. So, I mean, that's not an. It's obviously something that troubles me, but it's not something that's. I mean, yeah, I live on the road, man. Minimal life, and yeah, so I'm not. I don't have a. Yeah, it's. Yeah, I have nothing to say about that subject anymore. Sorry, I think I've started doing like what you absolutely should never do when you're writing. You don't fucking start doing therapy. And now our little our little thing has become this weird, fucked up therapy.
I mean, I wouldn't say it's therapy because you're not lying down on
Yeah,
these
I'm
like
sitting on a couch.
leather something that is like Chesterfield sofa or whatever.
Yeah,
You're just sitting on something that has more history than all of the books here combined.
yeah. This couch is pretty fucking. It's lived.
Yeah. To be honest, I also don't know what I could share about it, but at least you like yeah, you, I understand you, but also you're the one that obviously like you don't give up on family, and it's not like some people that just like completely erase everyone in the family and just live their lives. So like you have the responsibilities and you deal with them, and it's
Some of what you're saying is true. Some of it is also me kind of uh, focusing on the family because it's like hiding in university in Germany or in Canada because university's cheap. So instead of like dealing with life, you do another degree, you know? And and then when people say, "Oh, what are you doing with your life?" "Oh, I'm doing a marketing degree."
how old are you? 43 now? Yeah.
So yeah, no, like, but some of what you're saying is true. I think, yeah, it's that's another thing. I find it's really great when you move. I've been big on this, like going in the right direction. I that's really important, and I think when you're going in the right direction, things kind of like answers pop up, and suddenly like you just, yeah, some problems just dissolve, and literally like you see solutions, you see the right way to address this, but there's only one way to find out, and it's to get on with it.
Yeah, you said something interesting that I started thinking about it, like when we spoke about, was it the Aboriginal tribes or the African that always take a new path? And then I realized like, oh yeah, everything you do in life is like that. I mean, if you keep repeating certain things, if you keep going to your ex, it's always gonna be a mistake. If you keep going back to some old habits but you want to change, like it's obviously not gonna serve you well. You always need to, like, I mean, if you do the same thing every single day, like your brain kind of shrinks. I mean, the neurons, like you need to establish constantly new connections in order for you to always have this like sharp mindset and to fight dementia potentially and so on. So like you always need to like do something new, and yeah, it made me realize that settling fully is, you should never settle. And that's what
No,
Seba said many years ago. Like when I said I'm tired of moving around, I just want to be in Berlin. He said like,
fuck Seba.
no, no, but no, I was the one that said that. But I mean, yeah, fuck Seba. But in this case, he told me like, you should like, why settling? You should never settle. And I was like, years later, I realized like, oh yeah, maybe I should never settle. So I wanted to leave Berlin, and after lots of thinking, I ended up being in Berlin again. So yeah, partially settled.
It's great, man. Your new apartment's fucking great. You guys are, I mean, your wedding was so much fun. Strat Peffer, man. I love Scotland. These two ladies came in today. Also, they were from Scotland.
Scotland.
Yeah, and I love telling people like, yeah, I went to Strathbeth for a wedding.
They're like, where's that?
No, they know. I know.
No.
Yeah.
You meet a lot of interesting people here.
Yeah, it's amazing. And it's so eclectic. You meet like just such a broad range of people.
It's not just a bookshop where people come, get the book, leave. You get a chance to chat with them as well.
Yeah, and the place very visibly has a history. And it very much is Berlin in the sense that, or that stereotype of what, I'm sure Berliners who, have been living here for generations are tired of hearing all these people who come through Berlin talk about what Berlin is. But there is this thing where outsiders, just people who don't, life is less bad here. It's not good. I'm being a bit cynical and whatever, angry, but it's you kind of don't not fit. It's you don't necessarily it's and it works here. You can be yourself, do your thing, and this shop is exactly like that. It's another country bookshop, and it's set up 1999. Yeah, by Alan, who then became Sophie, and I only knew her when she was already Sophie, and it was just a welcoming place. You could just come and be around people. Anyways, it's a good place. It's a good place, and the wonderful thing that was really brought in when it was opened is there's this passion for books. It's a bookshop. It's a there's something about literature that has been around for I don't know, thousands of years, and especially since the printing press has been invented, it's been very much like poetry. It's included. It's not just for an elite, but it's for everybody. Now it's like football or MMA fighting. You get really good quality because these guys, they don't. Some of the really good footballers, they just play barefoot for years before, and they're amazing fucking players by the time they get their first fucking shoes. And it's the same thing, it's like poetry. Anybody who now the masses have access to poetry, it's going to get better, and it is better today. A lot of people give a hard time to whatever. I was gonna say poets from the past who've written in a very kind of popular and inclusive way, and another country bookshop's good. It's a good place. There you go. All right. It's funny because you do these interviews. I thought, it's going to be cool. It's nice to, you get your ego thing going. And then you realize, I'm not sure I looked very good there, And then you're like, because if you have a real honest discussion, you don't just see the qualities of the person. You're like, because you get tired, whatever. So that's why, man, artists shouldn't talk about their art. You do your poem, you do your fucking painting, and either, the music speaks for itself, or,
Yeah, true. Well,
all right.
Let's hear something from you.
Good. This one's called Ordinary Wonder. That kid, she must have been 4. The life in her, joy, full, unapologized for. And today I'm tired, wiped out by the economy, by the system. She'd seen a taxi, and she was waiting for any event. All events matter. What if I slept just a little? Look at that taxi. Every atom in the universe resonating. My bike is falling apart. Convoluted poetry fell through pages by the enemy. Today at the pool, Court of Appeals, how are we to rid ourselves? Nothing ever changes. Flux and abasement. Phosphorus. Voices. The war ran out of gas. Depression recompressed. Naps at work. Why pay when you can meet strangers? Next poem's called Show Me. On the verge, a mind packing up, around the world ticket. Let's go on a date. Speak of fears, relationships, children. Family has been a pillar. You were born. Grandpa got his head separated from his torso on a foreign continent beach. He died for no reason at all. But we celebrate that he got duped with a flower. My grandpa was the son of a defeated man who went away, made children, and beat his wife. All the bad things were put on him. One day we talked, and we blamed him, and nothing changed. My grandpa never saw no war, and he died, and eventually his head separated too when he decomposed. Oh, men who have done it all wrong, mothered and married, wrong, working. Now my boat inside the boat has hit a mountain of ice. And this is our life. Urges. Everybody's going to die. You and you. Knowledge washes a rock. Vessels falling in love. Portholes through which whole harbors disappeared. And then long dreams that lasted. This next one's called Therapy, and it's 2 little sub-poems. The first one's called Hope. All alone, ready for a change, just a step away, still a step too far. Maybe tomorrow. The second one is called Letting Go. You go through big changes and you'll hold on hard. And hard leads to harder. One time on Boulevard Saint-Germain, I beat up a guy, and then I took the expensive running shoe he shed during the beating. What him and his buddy had done made me so mad. The beating didn't make up for it. This one's called Once a Month. The moon rises up over the tops of the trees, on fire, all orange and pretty.
Robko, thank you for this nice chat.
Man, thank you, man. You're a fucking legend. I love you.
We should do it again.
Yeah. We did, man. It's like I said, man. If I had done this with anybody other than you, it wouldn't have been like this. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, the camera died, I think.